Hey there everyone, what's up and welcome back to another video on political trends. Chaos in Cleveland, the first US presidential debate of 2020 blessed us with some comical and creative insults. And who are we kidding? If these slurs hadn't been there, we wouldn't have watched the debate at all. Alright, let's get to it. Number 9. Will you shut up, man? Honestly, in the last 4 years, we have all said that to Trump. Even Melania wishes she could say that to Trump. Biden couldn't talk because Trump wouldn't shut up. Hell, even Chris Wallace couldn't get him to shut his mouth, and at last, the golden words of the first debate were spoken with utter wariness by Biden. Will you shut up, man?
This is radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Number 8. Joe, you ain't smart. Biden threw the classic, you have been irresponsible and illegible during the COVID-19 pandemic and how you've let the country down. Trump, on the other hand, somehow thought that why not just criticize Biden's credibility? When Biden said that his government would have handled the situation smartly, Trump clapped back saying, "There's nothing smart about you, Joe."
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just tell you something, Joe.
No,
if you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
Number 7. Gentlemen, this is the end of this debate. Didn't we all feel sorry for Chris Wallace, who had to be there physically and listen to this hot mess? I wondered what he was thinking when the two were fighting. Well, he seemed legitimately exhausted, and when neither party was ready to shut up, he went ahead and concluded the debate. I'm sure he was thrilled when the hours were over. Do you think his ears are still ringing?
And I'll be a president not just for the Democrats. I'll be a president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy,
I want to see an honest ballot count.
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this debate?
Honest ballot count.
We're going to leave it.
Number 6. Liar, liar, debate's on fire. When Trump confronted Biden that he had simply adopted Bernie Sanders' socialist medical proposals, Biden was full on defensive, saying that he best Sanders, so isn't that irrelevant? But Trump wasn't taking any of it. He simply called him out as a liar, saying, "Hey Joe, you're the liar. You graduated last in your class and not first in your class."
It's simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree,
want to make sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
Number 5. Loser son. Families were brought in too, yes. Of course, Trump had to mention Hunter Joe, who had his bad days as a drug addict and was fired disgracefully from the army. He topped off Hunter's rap sheet by calling him a loser. Trump also stated how Hunter never had a job until Biden was elected the vice president and his scandals with the Ukrainian government were brought to light. This was followed by Biden's justifications for his son and how his junkie days were behind him, and also, "My son is not a loser."
And I resent.
Are you talking about Hunter? Are you talking about Hunter?
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
He made a fortune.
My son.
And he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions?
All right.
But he wasn't given tens of millions of dollars. That is totally,
President Trump, we've already been through.
Totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial subjects. Well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call here.
3.5.
Number 4. He's a racist. Trump had already refused to call out the white supremacist groups that ignited the racial heat in the US because, according to him, it was all from the leftists. Biden claimed that all Trump did was to pour gasoline over these events and make them worse. According to Trump, racial sensitivity training of law enforcement was racial, but Biden refused and called him a racist instead.
Teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm
No
not going to
one
allow
did.
that to happen.
Vice President Biden?
Nobody's doing that. He's the racist.
You just don't.
Number 3. Trump is a clown. Even Chris Wallace had to try hard to get Trump to stop talking. He took his best shots at interrupting with Biden's speeches. It was like he was eating up his words and swallowing anything that came out of Biden's mouth. When Wallace tried to remind Trump that it wasn't his time to speak, Biden replied, "Well, it's hard to get any words in with this clown." In his years of service, who hasn't called him that? I mean, literally everyone has. Even after this, Trump kept cutting him.
Wait a minute. You get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me.
Hey, let me just say to you.
No. Mr. President.
Number 2. The biggest mask ever. Ironic how Trump said that, and the following days landed him in the arms of the coronavirus. He insulted Joe Biden for wearing a mask everywhere and speaking through it, which gets annoying. He further added how Biden shows up wearing the biggest mask he has ever seen in a gathering, even when people are 200 feet apart. Ooh, a stretch there. Anyway, the joke's on you, Trump. So who's laughing now?
Wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say this.
Vice President Biden. Go ahead, sir.
Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said the opposite.
Number 1. The worst American president. I mean, what could top that? Biden might have just stated the truest fact. When the matter of federal taxes was brought up, Biden called out Trump on how his taxes were low. Trump said that he had paid the taxes in millions, only that they are currently under audit. I mean, they have been under audit since 2016. Biden ended it by calling him the worst US president in history. You're the worst president America's ever had.
The last 25 years.
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
That's it, folks. These are the presidential candidates. My school debates were better than this, but not funnier, of course. I wonder how the second debate will be. I mean, it would only get better, right?